We got a lot of news to get to right now on Fantasy Football Today in 5. I'm Adam Azer with Dave Richard on FFT in 5. A little disappointed because we don't get to do any player props today. Yeah, usually that's the Wednesday night, Thursday morning show. We get the Thursday night football preview. There is no Thursday night. Dave, how are you going to spend your Thursday night?
I'm going to watch the Canes basketball team and get my show notes ready for FFT Thursday noon on CBS Sports HQ.
How you're going to spend your Wednesday night. How are you going to spend your open Thursday night?
Oh, okay. I wasn't even really paying attention to what you were saying. My open Thursday night, I'm probably be getting my show notes ready for Friday's FFT episode. And by the way, player props, if that's what you're looking for, I'm on a show called The Early Edge, 2 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, hosted by the coach, Jonathan Coachman, along with Alex Selznick. He goes by Prop Stars. Last week, we were 10-0 collectively with our props. That's right. I went 5-0. So all the haters out there, eat that. So if you're looking for props for week 17, we got you. Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Search for Sportsline Early Edge. It's a ton of fun.
Okay, here we go. So Dalvin Cook is activated. We're going to start him, but Adam Thielen is out for the season. So how much do you like Osborne? And now as we look at the waiver wire wide receivers, Gabriel Davis and Cole Beasley are back. So that ruins Isaiah McKenzie. Yeah. MVS is back. So I don't know if you want anyone there. Is KJ Osborne the best guy that may have been available, the best wide receiver to pick up and start?
It'll come down, and there might be other names that we'll talk about on the podcast this week, the main podcast, but he's toward the top of the list. He's scored a touchdown in 3 of his last 4 games. These are games that Adam Thielen either missed or played just a limited amount of snaps in. I think he's definitely got a shot. He's had 7 targets in 3 of those 4 games. Really the only game where he didn't have a good fantasy stat line was that Chicago game where the Vikings didn't have to throw that much. Call me crazy against Green Bay. I think they're going to have to throw quite a bit. So I think he's got a shot to finish as a top 24 wide receiver.
So Lamar Jackson returned to practice. He has been limping around apparently. There is a chance that Tyler Huntley could play this week. Do you think that that would actually be an appealing start if he is the starter? Maybe if Trey Lance ends up starting, Garoppolo hasn't been ruled out yet. Would you rather have Huntley if he starts or Trey Lance?
I think I'd rather have Huntley. I think they both have that same type of floor with their rushing ability, and certainly playing against Houston seems like a great matchup for Trey Lance. But I don't know how good of a passer he is. I'm a little more convinced that Tyler Huntley can get the job through the air and maybe even get better numbers on the ground.
Okay, other news. Look at the Giants. Saquon Barkley missed practice. The ankle's still apparently bothering him, and both quarterbacks are going to play. So he's the only he's the only Giant, obviously, that would be interested in. But how interested are you in Saquon Barkley?
I mean, the matchup is not bad against Chicago. They've had a hard time with running backs. You saw Rashad Penny have a great game against them last week. I would qualify him as a middle to low end number 2 running back in full PPR, probably more of a flex in half and non-PPR. Look, bottom line is he's had at least 15 carries, 3 straight games. He's had a bunch of catches in, I think, 5 of his last 6, just not last week's game. If he plays, I wouldn't expect him to necessarily be efficient, but I think he can get you north of 15 touches with a shot to score.
Jordan Howard, they didn't actually practice today. They had a walkthrough, but he was listed as a DNP. So, man, it looks pretty good for Boston Scott right now, if that were the case, right? Where would you rank Boston Scott if Howard were out?
Decent number 2 fantasy running back. But
that's it?
That's it. But Jordan Howard has to be out. Period. End of story. He's got to be out. And the reason why that's it, Adam, is because we don't know what the Eagles are actually going to do with their run game. Remember, the last time we were excited about Boston Scott, it was week 13. Miles Sanders was playing. He was the 1A back. We thought Scott would be the 1B back. He was more like the 9Z back. He didn't even get a carry in the game. So I've got some trust issues with Nick Sirianni and these running backs, which is why he's only a number 2 running back. But you mentioned Jordan Howard being out. Kenneth Gainwell was on the injury report for the pretended practice that they had. He was limited, and Jalen Hurts is still limited. So if he's not running quite as much, if Kenneth Gainwell isn't at 100%, then Scott's got a chance to come through and be what you think he'll be, which is, I guess, the number 1 running back in fantasy this week.
Someone I'd definitely start over Saquon Barkley if Jordan Howard were out.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, last thing here. Every week, usually week 16, this year week 17, Dave gives us a good luck player to pick up, put on your bench. Don't drop anyone good for that player.
No, and you can pick up
Tebow in the past.
Right. Tebow is really the guy that started it all. And I noticed my buddy Andy Behrens on Yahoo said that there's been hundreds of people on Yahoo that picked up Tim Tebow to put on their bench for good luck. And if he's worked for you in the past, go ahead and do it. But it's obvious who the good luck player is this year. Demaryius Thomas, we miss him. He was such an asset to fantasy managers for years and years and years. He's still available to get picked up on CBS Sports and some other sites as well. If you can't get him, then you can go get Tim Tebow. But I think Demaryius Thomas should be the guy that we all pick up. You can make the move as late as Saturday night if you want to. Drop somebody that you're definitely not going to play and you're not going to need, and put Demaryius Thomas on your bench as your good luck charm, good karma to help you win a championship in week 17. You think it's silly, and it is. It's very silly, but it's helped me in the past. I've won league titles, and it's fun to have a good luck charm on the bench.
Absolutely. And thanks. Fun to talk fantasy football with Dave Richard. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on